Yeah, what the fuck's going on with this fight here, man? What's going on? Is it on or what? You know, fucking Chris Eubank Sr., he's come on the scene and he said, I don't want my son fighting Conor Benn because he'll have to get down to a low weight and it'll be really dangerous. I've already had one son die, Seb Eubank. I don't want another son dying. So, Chris Eubank Sr., he's kind of fucking it up for us, isn't he? We was looking forward to that fight. It's probably still going to happen, he's probably just trying to hype it up because, Chris Eubank Sr., by him saying, oh, this fight is dangerous. My son could die like my other son, Seb Eubank. If people hear that and they think, oh, someone might die, or Chris Eubank Jr. might get killed, I'm going to tune in. Yeah, that's interesting. Because it is, innit? If you watch a fight and there's a good chance that somebody could get murdered, it's going to be more interesting, innit? So Eubank Sr., that's what he does. He tries to, do things, to try and get the public's attention. And he used to wear that thing on his eye, he didn't wear that for, medical reasons, did he? He wore it, to get people's attention and get them talking about it. I'm talking about it, and he hasn't worn that for years, has he? So that's what he does, man. He plays these little games. So he's pretending that he's pulled his son out of the fight with Conor Benn, but, it's probably bullshit, innit? It fucking better be bullshit, But even if it's not bullshit, and Eubank Sr. did tell his son, don't take the fight with Conor Benn, his son might not listen because that's what Chris Eubank Sr. used to say. He said that, when Chris Eubank Jr. was a kid, he used to tell him that he's not allowed to box. But Chris Eubank Jr. just fucking boxed anyway. He didn't really take his dad's advice about how corrupt boxing is and how hard it is and this and that. When Eubank Jr. was a kid, he was determined to box. And he eventually did, didn't he? So he didn't really listen to his dad's advice then. So he might not listen this time around as well. Some kids don't listen to their dad's advice. Mayweather's daughter, she had a kid with a rapper, who's got 9 baby mamas. NBA Youngboy. So you think that, Mayweather having discipline to become TBE, you would have thought that his daughter would have discipline. You would think that Mayweather's discipline would have rubbed off on her. But it didn't, did it? And she's had a kid with a rapper who's got 9 baby mamas. So she obviously lacks that discipline, that Mayweather's got. She probably didn't listen to his advice. So some kids don't listen, do they, to their parents? And Chris Eubank Jr., hopefully, he won't listen to his dad who's telling him to pull out of the fight. I want to see it, man. I don't care if fucking Eubank gets fucking... People like murder, don't they? It's boxing, isn't it? Just get in there, man. He was eating chicken the other day, so it's like, if you can do that, then you can just fucking get in there and fight. Lose a bit of weight. And get stuck in, man. Give us a bit of entertainment. People like murder, don't they? Chris Eubank Sr., he murdered somebody, he crashed into them and he killed them. And he conveniently keeps that story quiet, don't he? Chris Eubank Sr. We want to know what happened. We want to hear what he's got to say about it, but you don't want to talk about it, does he? But, murder, it's quite interesting, isn't it? So, if people feel like Chris Eubank Jr. could get murdered, they're more likely to tune in, and pay the pay-per-view money to see a potential murder. It adds a nice little interesting element to the fight, don't it? If Chris Eubank Jr. really is struggling with the weight. But we'll see, innit? We'll see. You know what I mean? I think Eubank Sr. is overreacting, by bringing Seb Eubank into this. I think he's being over dramatic, saying I don't want to lose Chris Eubank Jr. like how I lost my other son, Seb Eubank. I think he's being a bit over dramatic, isn't he? I want to know if Chris Eubank Sr. loves his other son, his illegitimate son, Nathaniel Wilson. Even that photo there, Eubank Sr. is not stood next to his illegitimate son, is he? You know, he's stood next to his two sons, you know, that he loves the most. You know, it's like there's a barrier, you know, between Chris Eubanks Sr. and his illegitimate son, Nathaniel Wilson. You know, that photo, it's quite symbolic, innit? It's almost like Chris Eubanks Sr., he just doesn't want to be stood next to him, like how he does his other sons, you know, that he loves the most. I could be imagining it, but I don't know, it just looks like Eubanks Sr. is happy to have his illegitimate son Nathaniel Wilson on the outside. That's how it looks, don't it? There don't seem to be a lot of love there, does there? You know, remember that little reunion that they had? You could tell it was tense, you know what I mean? It was fucking tense. You know, Nathaniel Wilson, he couldn't look his biological dad, Chris Eubanks Sr. in the eye, could he? He couldn't do it. Even when Sr. tried to put his hand on Nathaniel Wilson's shoulder, you could see the animosity, you know, on the face of Nathaniel Wilson. You could tell there was a bit of hostility, you know what I mean? So that Nathaniel Wilson, he tried to have a go at Conor Ben, didn't he?
You should be pulling strings on your side. I'm pulling strings on your side.
What are you talking about? What strings?
Harley.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, but when was your last fight?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like that. There's nothing there. Harley's just had a recent fight. When was the last time you fought?
Everyone's been out a couple of years. COVID, man. So.
Oh, come on, man.
Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
What do you mean? Like, I don't. Yeah, silly.
Yeah, that. Yeah, all that. Fucking. You know, Nathaniel Wilson trying to talk to Conor Ben like that. Why would Conor Ben, like, feel obliged to put you on his show? He doesn't have to get you on the undercard. Fighting his brother Harley Ben. You know what I mean? Like, you're a nobody. You're not. You're only known for being neglected by your dad. You know, it sounds a bit harsh, don't it? But it's true, innit? You know, he's saying to Conor Ben, oh, you should be pulling strings. You should be pulling strings. Why should he? You know what I mean? Why should he? He's about to get paid a few £1 million, you know, if that fight with Chris Eubank Jr. happens. So he don't need to be pulling strings for you. Who are you? Why should he fucking pull strings for you? You know, I'm not really a Conor Ben fan, you know, because Eddie Hearn keeps calling him a superstar. You know, he's lying, innit, Eddie Hearn, but I think Conor Ben was right, you know, in this little exchange. Like, when was your last fight? It was 2 years ago. He got TKO'd by a guy who's got a record of 1 win and 3 losses. You know, that was his last fight, Nathaniel Wilson's, you know, 2 years ago. So why should Conor Ben, who's about to get paid a few £1 million, pull strings for you? He doesn't owe you anything. He owes you nothing, yeah? You got a chip on your shoulder because your dad neglected you. So you're trying to take it out on Conor Ben. But it's not his fault, is it? You should be pulling strings your end. It's silly talk, innit? You know, I don't really rate Conor Ben, innit? But, you know, having Eddie Hearn behind him and getting a few nice little paydays, and, you know, he's got that nice fancy wife, hasn't he, Victoria. And he's got a little son called Eli, and, you know, he's got a fancy car and this and that. You know, his dad loves him more than Chris Eubanks Sr. loves him. So he's a bit hostile, innit? So he's trying to take it out on Conor Ben, but it's not his fucking problem, man. You get that chip off your shoulder, innit? Fucking stop trying to put it on Conor Ben and trying to blame him for your problems. He doesn't owe you a fight or a payday. He doesn't have to get you on the undercard. Fighting his brother Harley Ben. He doesn't owe you anything. Yeah? Get that fucking chip off your shoulder, man. He's fucking weighing you down, man, and it's embarrassing you. You're making a fool of yourself. You know, begging Conor Ben for a payday.
You should be pulling strings on your side. I'm pulling strings on your side.
What are you talking about? What strings?
Harley.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, but when was your last fight?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like that. There's nothing there. Harley's just had a recent fight. When was the last time you fought?
Everyone's been out a couple of years. COVID, man. So
Oh, come on, man.
don't give a deal with that. Don't give a deal with that.
What do you mean? Mate, I don't. Yeah, silly.
You know, it's tragic, innit? But yeah, I think Conor Benn's fight with Chris Eubank Jr. will happen. You know, I think Chris Eubank Sr. is just trying to like add a death element to the fight. You know, so people tune in and think, oh, there might be a death involved. You know, that's what he's trying to do, innit? Chris Eubank Sr. So hopefully that's what he's done, and hopefully the fight will happen, you know, and doesn't fall through. You know, like that women's boxing event the other day. That fell through, didn't it? You know, because the Queen died. You know, and it like fucked up the women's boxing event, didn't it? That was fucked up, wasn't it? You know what I mean? These women were about to get weighed. They were starving themselves, you know, training hard, and then the fucking Queen dies, so their fight gets postponed by 5 weeks. That's fucked up, innit? Like Michaela Meyer, she was supposed to be on there. She's probably the nicest woman on the show. Yeah, she likes black dick, which is quite good news for me, innit? But like, you know how men are like supposed to abstain from sex close to a fight? How does it work for women? Does it work the same? You know, if that Michaela Meyer got fucked by that black man, you know, the night before a fight, how would that affect her performance? I don't know if sex affects women like it does men. She's quite nice, isn't she? I think she was probably the nicest looking woman on the show. Yeah, I was going to do a video, you know, about the Queen's death. You know, about her stealing diamonds and fucking pearls, gold, you know, from other countries. And Joshua bowing down there. Joshua's from Africa, yeah. The Queen stole fucking diamonds from Africa. You know, and Joshua's bowing down like a fucking fake puppet. You know, a little media-friendly corporate fucking muppet. You know, bowing down to his oppressor like that, and he's got fucking wisdom tattooed on his arm. You know, with the Africa fucking continent on it. You know what I mean? What's all that about? What's he doing there, Joshua? You know, he's all over the place, isn't he? You know, bowing down to the oppressors. You know, he ain't got a fucking mind of his own, has he? As long as he gets a little trinket, you know, a little medal, you know, he's willing to bow down to his oppressors, isn't he, Joshua? You know, that's what he did to Usyk, didn't he? Like, bowed down, you know, and let him win the fight. He's got that slave mentality, Joshua. So all this wisdom bullshit, you know, it's bullshit. Means nothing. It's a silly tattoo, innit? It needs to be removed. It's fucking meaningless, innit? Wisdom. Coogan was being fake as well, wasn't he? He tried to like write a little tribute to the Queen, saying, "We are deeply saddened by the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. As a mark of respect, we will be taking time to reflect on Her Majesty's life and devoted service and join the nation in mourning her loss." Coogan don't give a fuck, man. He's just trying to come across as the nice guy, innit? It's called virtue signaling. You know, when you like pretend to be a nice person, you know, to get pats on the back, so people are like, oh, he's a nice person. You know, it's fake, innit, from Coogan. When have you ever heard Coogan like talking like that? We are deeply saddened by the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. As a mark of respect, we will be taking time to reflect. You know, Coogan never talks like that, does he? We will be taking time to reflect on Her Majesty's life and devoted service and join the nation in mourning her loss. Mourning her fucking loss. You know, Coogan was fucking a woman that night. The Queen died. You know, if you're mourning, yeah, the death of somebody, you're not going to have sex, are you? But Coogan was definitely having sex the night the Queen died. So all this, I'm going to take time to reflect and fucking mourn the loss of the Queen. It's a load of shit. You know, pretending to like the Queen and that. They don't give a fuck. It's called virtue signaling, and that's what they're doing, aren't they? Coogan and Joshua. You know, it's fake niceness, isn't it? That's what I was going to do a video about, innit? You know, all these fake people writing statuses on Facebook and tweets saying, oh, I'm so sad. Now shut the fuck up, man. I don't give a fuck. You're just following the hype. Whatever's trending on that day, you just jump on it and try and get involved. But now you've moved on. You've completely forgotten all about the death of the Queen. You're not interested anymore, are you? It's old news, innit? What's trending now? Fucking Chris Eubanks Sr. Yeah, did you watch that YouTube fight the other day, you know, with those little YouTubers? That brown guy, Austin McBroom and Anderson Gibb. They had a little fight, didn't they, the other day, a little YouTube fight. So, I don't know who these two fuckers are, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I only heard about them, you know, when it was the KSI Fight Week. I went to that a couple of weeks ago when he boxed that Swarms and that little fake Mexican pussy. That's the first time I heard about this Austin McBroom and Anderson Gibb. I'd heard of that Gibb before, but I don't really know who these two fuckers are, you know, but Austin McBroom, you know, going into the fight, it was his pro debut. But that Gibb, he had a fight before, you know, and he got fucked up by Jake Paul. Do you think Jake Paul's the main man, you know, in YouTube boxing? Do you think he's like leading the way? Or is it KSI? It's probably Jake Paul, isn't it? He's fighting Anderson Silva. You know, real boxing, it's dead, man. So this little YouTube boxing scene, this isn't even their real thing. This is just their side hustle. Yeah? These guys get paid, you know, to play computer games and make little YouTube videos. I don't even know who these two are, to be honest. You know, I only heard about them, you know, during the KSI Swarms Fight Week, but at least they're fighting, innit? You know, and they don't have to. And they show a lot of heart. But you know that fucking Errol Spence, he was trying to talk shit about this fight here. He wrote a tweet in it saying, they used to say you can't play boxing. Well, these niggas playing, laughing face. Do you know what I mean? That's what fucking Errol Spence said, didn't he? You know, he's trying to diss this event. But why don't you fight fucking Terence Crawford? You know, instead of sitting there typing away. Why don't you fight fucking Terence Crawford? You know them guys back in the day like Leonard and Tommy Earns and Hagler and Roberto Duran. They all got stuck in, didn't they? They all fought each other. You know them guys, they all got in there and fought each other, you know, to see who's the best. But you know this fucking Errol Spence, you know, he's not getting in there with Terence Crawford, is he? And he's just sat there drunk, typing away, you know, dissing this YouTube boxing. Why don't you fucking fight Terence Crawford instead of chatting drunk about this YouTube boxing? At least these guys are getting in there. Go and fight fucking Terence Crawford, man. And it showed a lot of heart. But you know that fucking Errol Spence? Yeah, look at that. Good shot, wasn't it? The guy just got up. Go and fight fucking Terence Crawford, man. You know that guy in the white shorts? Austin McBroom, he's got about 6.4 million followers, you know, on Instagram. The other guy's got about 660,000 followers, so these guys are fucking, I don't know, I rate them, innit? They don't have to do this. You know, real boxing, you know, Tyson Fury, you know, he's trying to talk about how he's willing to fight Joshua, you know, this year, but he's just saying that, innit? He's just trying to build up a fight with Manuel Charr. Tyson Fury's just trying to get some hype going, you know, for his fight with fucking Manuel Charr. So he's trying to drop Joshua's name into the mix. You know, Tyson, you can't really believe what he says, man. You have to fucking just take it with a pinch of salt, man. Tyson Fury needs to fight John McDermott. You know, he needs to give him another opportunity. He owes him. He's trying to avoid John McDermott in it, Tyson Fury. You know, John McDermott, he beat Tyson, you know, a few years ago. And Tyson, he's avoided him, you know, ever since. But he keeps calling out Derek Chisora, you know, that he's already beat a few times. So, you know, real boxing, it's dead, man. So this little YouTube boxing scene, it's alright. The guy gets put in hospital, yeah. You know the guy in the white shorts, Austin McBroom? I was looking at his Instagram, yeah. And like, you know, his trainer, he was getting him to like jab upwards, you know, on the pads. But that guy he's fighting, he's fucking shorter than him. The guy he's fighting is like 5'9", he's 6 foot. So why is that trainer, you know, getting him to jab up on the pads? You know, it's not realistic, is it? You see a lot of these trainers, they just try and get involved, you know, to try and get on camera and try and get a bit of pussy and, you know, try and get a bit of fame, you know, a bit of 2 minutes of fame. So they'll try and become trainers and train these big YouTubers. And they'll get them jabbing up like that, even though they're fighting someone who's smaller than them. It's fucking stupid. But then he ends up in hospital. You know, some of these little fake trainers, they try and do these little fancy choreographed Roger Mayweather type pad workouts, don't they? You know, trying to look all fancy on camera and that. You're not Roger Mayweather at all with your little fucking fake choreographed pad workouts, trying to look all flashy on camera. You're not Roger Mayweather. These little trainers just try and like jump on the bandwagon, you know, and try and be around the women and, you know, trying to be around the spotlight, you know, trying to worm their way in, trying to become somebody. So they just fucking hold pads higher than they should be and just, you know, just doing dumb shit. You know, and their fighters end up in hospital as a result of it. He's going to end up in hospital and you can tell. He's getting caught, his head's too high up, his trainer's getting him to jab up. You know, on the pads, he's fucking stupid trainer. Trying to get him murdered and that, just so he can get his little 2 minutes of fame. Because that Austin McBroom in the white shorts, you know, he's got a nice wife. I was looking through his Instagram, you know, he's got a nice fancy wife. You know, his wife was like breastfeeding their kid, you know, in a photo. It was quite nice to see. So he's got a lot going for him, you know, that Austin McBroom in the white shorts. Yeah, look at that. These guys just get straight back up as well, you know what I mean? You know, Joshua, he didn't want that fucking Usyk smoke, did he, Joshua? He kind of pussied out, you know, against the middleweight. You know, Joshua was talking about how his role models are murderers like Larry Hoover. You know, but Joshua, he don't show that murderer mentality himself, does he? You know, even though he's in there with middleweights. These guys, man, this guy's getting tagged and he just keeps going forward, trying to, you know what I mean? Show that heart. Look at that. When did Joshua do that? He did it a little bit in the ninth, but then he just thought, nah. Yeah. Even like Deontay Wilder, you know, you have to rate him in it. You know, even though he got fucked up by Tyson Fury and he got knocked down a load of times and his ear was bleeding, you know, he's still shown that heart in it. But, you know, Joshua, he's not really showing it anymore. He got concussed. You know, in the sparring workout before, he got fucked up by Ruiz, you know, in the first fight. And Joshua's never been the same. So we'll see what Wilder's got. You'll have to get him messed up by Tyson a few times and bleeding from the ear and all that. Remember when Tyson was pretending to lick the blood? I didn't like that. That was fucking horrible, man. You know, his trainer's not up to the job, man. His trainer's getting him to jab upwards, but his opponent's down. He's not as tall, is he? Look at that. Yes. YouTube boxing. Chris Eubank, Conor Benn. Chris Eubank said he's not going to stay away from pussy, you know, for his fight with Conor Benn. He said he's going to leave it for a couple of weeks. You don't need to go that long without pussy, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. That's what he said, didn't he? Because he said Conor Benn's not really... It's not really worth, like, staying that long away from pussy. You remember when those women tried to, like, stand next to Eubank Jr. and his dad, Chris Eubank Sr., waved his finger at him. You know, telling him to go away. You know, what's he doing there? Senior, what's he doing? You know, Eubank Senior, he loves pussy, don't he? He's got loads of kids, you know, to loads of different women. So I don't know why he's waving his finger at those women, you know, trying to get rid of them. He was just doing that because of the camera. But you know, afterwards, he probably tried to get them pregnant. You know, he's got loads of kids on it to different women, so that's what he tries to do. He tries to, you know, on camera, he tries to be all moral. But you know, off camera, he like crashes into people, you know, and murders them. That's what he does off camera, don't he? Chris Eubank Senior, he like crashes into people and murders them. You know, there's no parliamentary procedure there, is there? You know, when he's crashing into people and murdering them. But you know, on camera, he tries to like wag his finger at women, you know, like saying, oh, get away, you know, we're pure. You know, we don't deal with women, you know, we're pure, you know, we don't fucking fornicate like that, so go away. You know, that's what he's trying to do on camera, innit? But you know, off camera, he's like crashing into people and murdering them. You know, with absolutely no parliamentary procedure at all. I think he's fucked off Roy Jones. You know, in favour of his dad. Oh, fuck, you know. Man down. Man down. He had a go, showed heart. He didn't fucking pussy out like Joshua did he? Against a middleweight Usyk. So yeah, I rate him. I rate these guys, man, these YouTubers. Deji. Deji. Do you think he's like the new face of YouTube boxing? You know, after his little victory against Fusi. Do you think he's the main man now in YouTube boxing, or is it Jake Paul? It's probably Jake Paul, innit? But you know, Deji. You know, he's fighting Mayweather, innit? You know, in a little exhibition. What do you think of that? People have been dissing Mayweather, saying, oh, you fucking tarnishing your legacy. Do you know what I mean? You're not fucking preserving your legacy. You know, you're tarnishing it by having these silly fights against people like Deji and that little Japanese guy who was crying. And your little mate. You know, you're tarnishing your legacy. But I don't think he is. I think it's just like easy money. And I think if Mayweather was getting fucked up in these exhibitions like Roy Jones did against fucking Tarver and Glenn Koff Johnson and Enzo Macronelli towards the end of his career, I'd say, you know what, Mayweather, you're fucking tarnishing your legacy, man, boy. He's not doing that, is he? He's not getting messed up like Roy Jones did. You know, Roy Jones's legacy is kind of tarnished, isn't it? You know, after getting stopped by them kind of opponents that he got beat by towards the end of his career. Enzo Macronelli. So, this is just easy money for Mayweather, innit? So, I don't think Mayweather's legacy is tarnished from these little exhibitions. So, we'll see if he ends up fighting Deji. You know, they're both unbeaten, aren't they? So, it should be a good fight. So, we'll see how it goes. But that'll do anyway. Thanks for watching, yeah? Thanks for that.